Okay, so if you've spent any amount of time in the audio engineering space, especially the YouTube or social media audio engineering space over the past 5 to 10 years, you have probably heard of Fabfilter. Fabfilter makes what I, in my opinion, believe is the industry standard now of EQ plugins called the Pro-Q3. I mean, you look everywhere. You can throw a rock on YouTube and hit a audio engineering video where someone is using the Pro-Q3. It's just that prevalent, right? And I always kind of wanted one. I've demoed it before, but I hadn't gotten it yet because I ain't gonna lie, that plugin's a little pricey. Little bit. You gonna you gonna spend it. This ain't a $50 plugin here, right? And they have lots of other plugins which are really cool and they have different packages, but a little pricey. So you know what you do, you bookmark it, you put it in your web browser. I'll get to it at some point. I have other plugins I'm using that's doing the job for me. I'll get to this down the road. Now, recently, Fabfilter had a 30% off sale in celebration of their anniversary. And I said, okay, now is the time. The plugin package that I wanted, with the sale, it was over $100 less than what it normally would be. So I made the jump and I purchased the Fabfilter Mastering Bundle, which came with the Pro-Q3, came with their multi-band compressor, it came with a regular compressor, and it came with a limiter. And I've been eyeing this package for quite some time. And like, I literally, when I purchased it, said, I'm a big boy now. Like, I'm a real audio engineer. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I really did say that in my heart though. So I wanted to show it to you guys. I was just working on a mix, and so I was able to use it. And let's take a look at it and let's see what it can do. And let's talk about how I feel about it and how it compares to the EQ I was using before. And was it worth the investment? Let's take a look.
At McCray Music.
All right, how you guys doing? You blessed? I'm blessed, man. I pray that you're blessed as well. And let's get into this. Before we do, of course, you guys know the drill. Take your finger, do like this on the mouse, and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. That helps me out a lot, and it's going to help you out because it's going to allow you to be able to know what's coming up on this channel. All right, without further ado, let's jump into this here. I've got Luna up right here, which is my DAW of choice for mixing. Let's go ahead and pull up the Pro-Q3. Here's Fabfilter. Look at all those lovely plugins. All right, this is the Pro-Q3. Okay, so let's just take a look at some of the things it can do, and I'll talk about the things that stand out to me right off the bat, okay? The first thing that I like right off the bat is the flexibility of the scaling, right? So it starts us off on a 12 dB scale here. I can jump up to a 30 dB scale. I can jump all the way down to a 3 dB scale. And we'll see kind of what that does once I get like some EQ curves going here. But it gives me more flexibility here as far as the precise or the precision of the movements that I'm trying to make. So that is really cool. Pretty standard stuff up here. I like the fact that I've got an A-B right here. That is really cool, right? So if I'm making changes and I want to, A-B them right in here, I can do that. But there's a ton of presets in here and just some different options and things we can do. You could do MIDI program changes. That's interesting because I noticed there's a MIDI learn over here as well. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to do that. I guess maybe if you wanted to jump back and forth between EQ settings or do some automation using a MIDI controller. I mean, I don't think I would do that, but that's pretty cool. So now one of the things I like is I can just go anywhere here and I can start an EQ curve. So let's click right here and boom, I can pull up or down and here I have an EQ curve. All right. This is awesome. Common stuff here. I can turn this individual component on or off. That is great. Here I can control the type of curve, right? Am I doing a shelf? Am I doing a high pass, a low pass, right? A notch, right? All these different things I can control. Let's do something I know I would do on pretty much any vocal. Let's throw a high pass on there, baby. High passing is the way. All right, we'll throw that on there. So that's cool. That's great. Now, if I look down here, I really like the feel of these buttons. This just feels it just feels futuristic. Like this is cool. I noticed when I was mixing, like normally I would usually just come in and just drag stuff, but these buttons really made me want to come down here and start just manually doing stuff. Okay. Now, one of the things that I noticed, and we'll see this when I compare this to the EQ that I was using, that this is pretty much replacing now, is you have much more granular control, right? You can really dial in. You got, point settings here. So you could really be very, very precise and surgical here with your frequency, right? Same thing is true here with my gain. I can be very, very precise if that's what I want to do. Now, what I like about this, and I haven't used this too much, I actually discovered this by accident. I'm like, oh, that's cool, is I can adjust the dynamic range of this. And I like to, when you hover over, it's going to give you some help. At least it did a second ago. There it is. Dynamic range ring enables and controls the dynamic behavior of the EQ band, right? So you can go and you can add dynamics to this. So I can come and I can pull this down, right? Instead of auto, I could pull this down and say, all right, I want this to dynamically apply when the threshold reaches this particular area, right? Whatever it is I want to do, could expand or compress. So that is really cool. There is a separate complete, dynamic compressor, but that's really cool that I can add this element into my EQ here. And, I could, of course, power that whole band on and off. I could go to auto over here. I could start controlling the threshold for that. I, could start dealing with that right here as well. All right, so that is fantastic. I really like that. All right, so that's a cool feature. And then here's our Q. Now there's this little gear right here. Let's see what this is. This is going to give you gain Q interaction. And this is really cool. What this is going to do is as we start adjusting our Q, which is the width or the narrowness of our cut that we're making or our boost that we're making, it is going to automatically start adjusting gain, right? So let's say I've got a little boost happening right here. If I turn this on and I start messing around with this Q, notice it starts moving or adjusting the gain based on how wide or narrow I do the Q. And so it's basically like level matching for me. So I'm just hearing the EQ change that I'm making and I'm not being manipulated by stuff being louder or quieter. Because right, when things are louder, we tend to think they sound better. So that's actually pretty cool. I don't know that I'd use this that much, but that's cool that that's there if I wanted to do that. All right. All right, now here is a big thing. I like this too. I can easily navigate between these ranges. That is amazing, right? I really like that. In the EQ that I'm going to show you in a bit that I was using before, sometimes it can be difficult, especially if you have EQ cuts or EQ ranges that are overlapping each other or near to each other. Sometimes it can be difficult to select the specific one you want. So that's really cool that there's just a nice navigator right here. I can quickly just jump right to the band I want to deal with, and I can start messing around with it. All right, so that is fantastic. Now, here is one of the big reasons why I wanted to switch to this for years is the fact that there is mid-side EQ built into the same EQ, right? And I can do it per band. Things like horns and strings, they function in a similar frequency range often to vocals, and sometimes they'll fight with each other, right? So let's say I've got backgrounds panned kind of wide and I've got horns panned wide too, and I want to get the horns out of the way of the background vocals, or maybe I want to get the horns out of the way of the lead vocal or vocals that are center. I could use mid-side to do that on just one band without impacting all my other bands, right? That's really cool. So I can just come right here and I can say, all right, boom, I want this to be mid. And now this is just controlling the mid, right? But all these over here are stereo, right? If I come over to this, notice that's still stereo. Only this particular band is doing mid EQ. That is amazing to me. Normally we'd have to insert a whole other plugin to do this. That feature alone made me be like, hey, I want to get this one day, right? So that is really cool. What's this do? All right, so we can do a split button. Ooh, so we can split. Look, I'm learning here right along with you guys. We can split, make two identical copies, one operating in normal. Oh, okay, so this is great. So I can split this, and now I can do the same thing where I can start splitting left and right on the same band. That is fantastic. There are different phases we can deal with. I'll be honest with you, I don't know the differences between these. I've seen people manipulate these before. I have to do a little bit more learning about that. So I won't be messing with that right now, but that's cool. Analyzer, I can do pre or post. Let's see, look at this. I can turn the spectrum off. I can do side chaining. This is fantastic. What's this? EQ match. What's that do? If I'm reading this correctly, if I have a reference signal and I want to match my EQ to that reference signal, I could turn all this. This crazy. All this is right in the same plugin. I could turn that on right there and deal with that. That's definitely something that I'm going to mess about with later on. Here I can start dealing with ranges, and there's just a bunch of other stuff in here that we can get in and deal with. That is amazing that just all of these tools, even though I don't know what all of them are yet, all of this stuff is built into this one EQ plugin. Like, that is fantastic to me. All right, so let's talk about now what I have been using in the past and why I felt I wanted to make the jump here. All right, so this is the EQ that I have been previously using, and this is the Neutron 2. This is the EQ from the overall Neutron package, and it has done the job for me for a long time. This was well worth the investment. I've gotten a good probably 3-4 years of use, I think, out of this. I've been using this for a long time. And I got to the point where I kind of started to feel like I was fighting against it sometimes. Specifically because I feel like I've noticed that it kind of colors the sound a little bit, meaning some plugins, when you put them on a channel, they immediately impact the sound of what you're doing, even if you haven't done anything yet. And sometimes that's a good thing, right? Like if we're dropping in like an analog emulator. But I started to notice I didn't really like what was going on with this. And I noticed that as I looked at other plugins. So what I decided to do now is test out my theory to see if this is actually doing anything to my sound. And so what I've done is, this is the EQ curve. Let's pull up the Pro-Q3 that I did in my mix. And just quickly what I have going on here, of course, I've got a high cut or a high pass rather, not a high cut going on right here. I've got a little bit of a boost down here around 191, kind of the 200 range a little bit, just to boost, get a little warmth there. I've got a slight cut here. There probably was like a frequency doing something there that I didn't like, so I have a very slight cut right there. I've got a cut here to get some of the boxiness out of the vocal. I've got a cut here at 2.7. 2.7 hertz is just the bane of my existence. So I pretty much am always cutting that. And I have a little boost right here close to the 10K range to kind of just get some airiness and get a little bit of brightness into the vocal. All right. And so I've duplicated those same things here. Let's switch it to the 30 dB scale. I've duplicated those same things here in the Neutron, right? So the exact same stuff. Let's turn on the Pro-Q3 and let's see what that sounds like. And then we'll switch to the Neutron and see if it sounds different. Here we go.
And though there were changes to the flag, it's still a blessing we still stand, and the truth we take in conquering our land.
All right, same thing with the Neutron now. Let's see.
And though there were changes to the flag, it's still a blessing we still stand, and the truth we take in conquering our land.
I feel like I hear a slight difference. Let's play it again. Here's the Pro-Q. Here's the Neutron. Let's do the Neutron.
And though there were changes to the flag, it's still a blessing we still stand.
Here's the Pro-Q3.
And though there were changes to the flag, it's still a blessing we still stand.
I hear a sonic difference where, to me, and you can leave in the comments if am I tricking myself or are you hearing it too? It sounds to me like the Neutron is a little bit harsher. It sounds to me like the Neutron is just a bit more, a little bit more grating, a little bit more brittle. And that's the issue I was running into with doing EQing with the Neutron. I was running into a lot more problems, I felt like, trying to tame harshness in vocals. And I think that it's because the Neutron just is naturally adding some level of harshness. Maybe it's pulling out some of the low end. Maybe, I don't know, it's doing something where it just seems harsher to me. If I listen to the Pro-Q.
And though there were changes to the flag, It's still a blessing we still stand.
It's the same EQ cuts, but it doesn't have that harsh quality to me. And it sounds a little bit warmer, and it's the exact same EQ movements. All right. And that was the big thing for me. I felt like I just had to do more stuff using the Neutron. I was starting to have multiple instances of it, just doing too much to kind of get it the way I want it. And I noticed in doing this mix that I just did that I didn't have to do any of that. I threw the Pro-Q3 on there. I made the adjustments that I wanted to make, and I found that I was able to get it to sound the way I wanted to just within that one plugin from an EQ perspective. Obviously, there's other things I wanted to do to the vocal after that, but I found the Pro-Q3 gave me the sound I wanted without me having to wrestle it into submission as much as I had to do with the Neutron. All right, so although the Neutron you done me well, you done good, son, for many years, but I'm sorry, I got to retire you, and we're going with the Pro-Q3. So I'm so excited about this. This is definitely worth the investment to me, and I'm looking forward to using it in the future. If you are interested in this plugin, I would definitely recommend investing in a bundle. Here we see the mastering bundle. It is currently $439. Again, I'm so sorry. The sale is over. So that 30%, then you see why I had to jump at it. It was $100, like over $100 less at 30% off. I was like, okay, this is the time. But I definitely recommend in a bundle. And the reason why is because each of these plugins are almost $200 by themselves. So, you know, I know we're rounding up here, but this is about an $800 value. It says it's worth $676. So, okay, maybe not $800. But you're getting a deal. So I would recommend saving or waiting until you're able to get the bundle. Or if all you need, if you're like, Ed, I'm cool with all this other stuff, I really just need this Pro-Q3. It's $170. I definitely think it's worth the investment. Or, you know, hang around and wait and see if there's a sale. They do also, if you're a student, they do also have a student discount. So like if you're in college, if you're at like Full Sail or SAE or, you know, something like that, they do have discounted versions for students that you can get that I should have gotten when I was in SAE, but I didn't get it, and then it was too late and it was full price. So I had to wait to get it. So I definitely recommend going the bundle route if you are interested in these plugins. All right, so I hope that helped you if you are considering purchasing the Fabfilter bundle. Unfortunately, at this point, the sale is over. So you're probably paying full price for these. As you can see, in my opinion, it is well worth the investment for what I'm doing now, for things that I want to be able to do in the future. I feel like this is an amazing tool and I love it, and I'm looking forward to using it more and more. All right, please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Of course, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. I'd love to converse with you guys. Let me know if you have questions about anything. Is there another particular product that you want to see me demo, unbox, review, whatever the case might be? Drop links in the chat, and you never know, maybe I'll take a look and actually do a video about that particular product. All right, great sharing with you guys as usual, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again soon. All right, peace.